What are the differences as we see them between inside zone and duo? So the technique used on the combos is going to be a little bit different due to the aiming points. For example, on the tight end or the close side of inside zone, we're going to stack our combos. On duo, we're going to get hip to hip. The running back and the quarterback's footwork is going to be slightly different when you're running each concept from offset shotgun. The short of it is we teach the running backs on inside zone. It is their job to get to the mesh point. On duo, it is the quarterback's job to bring the ball to the running back because we don't want the running back to lose relationship with the B gap. Inside zone, in our opinion, is better suited for RPOs because you can cross read. With duo, you can try to cross read it, but it's a lot more difficult because of how the quarterback's having to get the ball to the back. And again, in my opinion, duo is better from pistol, inside zone's better from offset shotgun, even though you can do both. Okay, so talking about hip-to-hip combos. So this is a good picture from some of our game film. So we use hip-to-hip combos, one, when we anticipate a redirect, because with hip-to-hip combinations, it keeps both offensive linemen square. It is much easier to redirect to a defender when you are square than when you are on an angle. We are trying to work vertical on our hip-to-hip combinations. These can occur either on the front side of duo or the front side of inside zone, and the aiming point for the O-lineman is play side knee to the crotch of the defender. Okay, so we talk about two different players when we talk about any one of our combinations on our inside zone or duo run game. So we have a drive player and we have a lift player. So when we talk about the drive player as it pertains to our hip-to-hip combinations, we're going to teach him to use a near foot lead. Some people call it gallop footwork. I used to call it a hip skip. Whatever you want to call it, it is a three-stepped rhythm gallop into the defender. We are going to use a shoulder fit for this block. So contact should be first with the shoulder, which is going to be rolled forward, and then you can transition into the flipper. The reason we want to use a shoulder fit, it keeps us compact versus if we get a flipper, we can get our arm away from our body and we're not hitting with as much force behind it as we could be with a shoulder fit. But with using the shoulder fit, we have to make sure we are ready to transition our hands if we do have movement from the defensive lineman. So we want to triangulate the backside foot, which is going to be the same for the lift player, and I'll talk about that more when I get to some of the tape. And the block is meant for situations in which you might have to redirect, which we talked about on the prior slide. Okay, lift player, we use what we call settle lift footwork, okay? And the basics, you're going to settle with the inside foot and then a 2-inch attacking step with the covered foot. So in my opinion, one of the most important things on this block is that you don't want to lose the stagger in your base too dramatically. So what happens a lot is, when we talk about settling with the inside foot, that second step can get really far forward and your body position ends up being more in a lunge type position than a squat position. Well, when that happens, you can't drive your hips through the block, which means you're going to lose your power. So as you're watching these blocks, and one of the things that I do a lot with our offensive linemen is when we're watching practice or game film or whatever it is, I'll pause at the point of contact. And we'll talk about what's your posture look like, what's your base look like, is your foot triangulated to the contact surface, are you able to drive your hips through from this posture? And it really helps the guys understand what their body posture should look like when they get to the contact point. Just like with the near foot lead, we're going to shoulder fit this, and just like with the near foot lead, they have to be ready to transition their hands if all of a sudden they get movement and have to turn it into a base block. Triangulate the backside foot, again, exact same as the near foot lead. And the angle and the speed of the departure of the lift player is going to be predicated on whether we're doing a hip-to-hip combination or a stacked combination. Generally speaking, with the hip-to-hip combination, we're going to take it vertical. So he can take his time a lot more on that combination versus if we're stacking, he's going to have to play it more of an angle and play off faster to the second level because the linebackers are going to mirror the path of the back, which is going to prompt us to coming off a little bit faster. I think once we get to some of the film, it's going to make a little bit more sense. So here, this is a drill we do for our lift players. This is a center. Okay, he's pretending to lift a nose. This could be, let's just say, duo to the left, and he would be working a combination with the guard up to the backside backer. So here you can see we lay down this shield right here, more in a vertical alignment. This offensive lineman right here, he's going to try to push the center or the lift player off his mark. We talk a whole lot about, especially with our hip-to-hip combinations, if you're the lift player, you got to hold the line. You cannot allow the defender to wash you, because then it makes it really difficult if ultimately your drive player has to come off. You're not in very good position. So this is a really good job here, okay, keeping himself vertical. When I talk about triangulating that backside foot, that's this foot right here. You want it 90 degrees to the contact surface. So ultimately, this foot right here is what's preventing this offensive player from pushing him off his line. So if he keeps that in a good posture, he can keep sticking it in the ground. He can stay vertical and work right up to the med ball. Okay? So with a lot of our combos, or really any of our blocks, I always like to start fitted. Start the guys in the final posture that you want them in, and then start to work yourself backwards. So whenever we install our combinations or our base blocks or our reach blocks or whatever have you, we're always going to start them fitted up. So here, this is a right guard, right tackle. Again, the outside feet should be 90 degrees to the contact surface. The inside feet should be slightly forward, but not a lot. Okay? And they're just working through right here on the defender. Okay? This is another good way of practicing this. Take one of your agile pads if you've got one of the thinner ones. Okay, once the guys go to execute the combination, drop the pad in between. If they are truly hip to hip, the pad will stay. If they aren't, the pad will fall to the ground. Okay, so then once we've worked, our fitted combination, we'll go to only working it against the down guy. Okay, so this is a left guard, left tackle. You can see the left tackle coming in with the 3-step near foot lead. You see the guard with his settle lift. They're both hitting with the shoulder fit. They could be a little bit more condensed. You can see how both of their elbows are flaring out right here. You want those in tighter, but overall, pretty good job with the feet. Okay, you can see him 90 degrees to the contact surface, 90 degrees to the contact surface. Okay, this is a really good look. This was 2 of our freshmen last year. Really good look right here by the right guard at the 3-step rhythm. 1, 2, 3. He's striking with the shoulder. He's able to get his hips driving through the block. And good job here by the center, again, taking that knee to crotch. Okay, and staying hip to hip. Okay, here, this was a lighter day for us. No pads. Okay, again, you see the left guard, left tackle. Now we're working up to a backer. Backer fits outside. Tackle comes off. Left guard and center. This would be like running duo to the left. This is our Mike ID right here. Again, 3-step gallop rhythm into him. Transitions off to the second level. Okay, so we will, when we run our hip-to-hip combinations and our near-foot lead, combinations that involve a near-foot lead, there are certain situations that might, have you end up having to hit and leave immediately. If you get a lot of 2-gappers, if there's a certain defender, if the backers are plugging extremely fast, you might not be able to come in with the near foot lead to stay and work vertically. You might have to come in and deliver him across to your lift player and then climb quickly. That's what this drill works right here. So we're coming in now, instead of trying to come in to stay and work vertical, we're coming in to hit the guy in the hip, which is why I used to call this the hip skip, to hit and deliver and climb quickly to the second level. So it's 1, 2, 3, hit, and then we're going to leave. Again, me personally, this is not my preferred way to do it, but we have to drill it because sometimes the situation's going to force us to do this. Here, we're going to do it against our defense and our linebackers. Again, I think it's always good whenever we can get Indy involved with linebackers so our guys can work on finishing. So all we're doing is taking the drill we worked in Indy. You can see the 1, 2, 3. He ends up striking in the hip. He climbs. Really good job with his fit. Hands are inside. Starts to drive his hips. Run through, finish the backer, giving us a really nice crease right in between 71 and the guard.